We call him Black Jesus, or you can call him Black Cat. Like, I'm gonna call him Mike. That's his name. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. Wow. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're gonna go at it. He says, oh, you don't want to do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. The love of the game, the challenge. Like, I would watch Magic play. I'd watch Michael play. And I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out.
There's a quote from one of my English teachers at Lower Merion named Mr. Fisk. He had a great quote that said, rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by. You know, I'm not going to rest, I'm going to keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have. Even questions that I don't have. But I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time. My father was really influential at a really critical time where I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old, in a very prominent summer league in Philadelphia called the Sunny Hill League. And my father played, my uncle played, and they were like all-time great teams and stuff. Wilt Chamberlain played in the league. Earl Monroe playing league, and here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer.
Really?
Not one.
How old were you?
11, 10, 11.
You were playing against other 10, 11-year-olds?
Uh-huh.
And you didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in the game.
How did you not score?
Because I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
At 10, 11 years old, you were that
awful.
terrible.
I mean, and I had these big knee pads on because I was growing really fast. I had socks all the way up here, and I had like the high top
skinny,
like skinny as hell. And I scored not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it. My father just gave me a hug and said, "Listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what."
Wow.
Now, that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, it gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. Let's go.
Right.
And from there, I just went to work. I stayed with it. I kept practicing. I think that's when the idea of understanding a long-term view became important. Because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year. Right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought. All right, what do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. And then you focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better. Right?
And a menu being like, I've got my jump shot from 15, I got
my jump shot from 15, I got my 3-point shot, like just open shots. Not miss open shots, right? And be able to shoot it with speed because those kids are so much more athletic.
Yeah.
And then the next summer I came back, I was a little better. And the summer came back, next summer I was a little better. I scored.
Yeah,
it wasn't much, but I scored.
And this is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old, and then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. Well, they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to them. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame.
And then your athleticism, once you have the fundamentals, the hard work, the mindset, and you tack on the athleticism, it's game over.
Then it was game over.
Wow. So from 13, you're good, average still?
I was good. And then about the end of my right when I was turning 14, I became the best player in the state. At 13 years old, I played the longer game because my game wasn't about being better than you at 13. It was to be better than you when the chips are really on the line. So when you played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else? Right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it? Right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better? Right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win.
right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game, right? So I have a strategy. So then fast forward to when I'm 17 and my game is completely well-rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17. Trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that were, I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I don't deal with people that don't commit at that level, but then act as if they do. I don't deal with that. I don't. You have a hamstring injury, you pull your hamstring really, really badly, you can barely walk, right? Let alone play anything. Soccer, basketball, volleyball, whatever it is. You can't do anything. Doctor tells you go home, sit up on the couch, rest your hammy, right? Stay off of it, don't get up, no sudden movements. You're at home, all of a sudden a fire breaks out in the home. Your kids are upstairs, wife is wherever she may be, it's going down, right? I'm willing to bet that you're going to forget about your hamstring, you're going to sprint upstairs, you're going to grab your kids, make sure your wife's good, you're getting out of that house, right? Hamstring be damned. You're not going to feel your hamstring, right? And the reason is because the lives of your family are more important than the injury of your hamstring. And so when the game is more important than the injury itself, you don't feel that damn injury. Not at that time.
Well, what does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting.
Why is it exciting?
Because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose,
Right.
but at the same time, there are answers there if you just look at them. I mean, it's an obsessiveness that comes along with it. You want things to be as perfect as they can be, understanding that nothing is ever perfect. But the challenge is try to get them as perfect as they can be. And what can you do? It's in your control. So control what you can.
I used to work out with the 76ers. I used to ask them, what's it like to guard Mike? Mike? You mean Black Jesus? I'm like, what the? Black who? Oh, we call him Black Jesus. Or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm going to call him Mike. That's his name. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're going to go at it. He says, oh, you don't want to do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. And so when we matched up, I think he understood that. And, when I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times. I was right there the next play. You're not intimidating me. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect because I think he was the same way at 18 years old. And that common bond is what I think where our connection was built.
I saw on Instagram that you're up at like 4 a.m. lifting by yourself in the dark. Why still wake up that early and train at this level in your life right now?
Well, I mean, there's several factors for that. Like when I first retired, I let myself go a little bit.
Really? You got a little?
Oh yeah.
A little chubby life?
It was awesome. So I was like,
you enjoyed every day.
Man, I'm eating. But in and out, man. Bring it to me. Let's go. Steak? Oh, let's go. Right? Milkshakes? Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. And then the challenge was, okay, can I get back in shape? And it's really hard because there's no end goal.
There's no game. There's no season. There's no.
So how do you motivate yourself?
How do you?
And so for me, it was like, okay, I have to aim for something. So I said, I want to aim for size. I want to aim for bulk. Right, so that's a tangible thing. I'm going to go for that, right? But then also, it's my children, because your kids can't see how hard you work. You go to the office, I come to the studio, they don't really see the effort, right? So how can we teach our children what it means to work hard? Well, you do it through training, right? So when I get up in the morning, my daughter goes with me.
4 a.m.?
4 a.m. My 15-year-old goes with me. She goes with me before school, and it becomes a daddy-daughter thing.
That's cool.
She just got a permit, right? So she drives in the morning. It becomes a cool thing, right? But through that process, she understands the value of hard and things taking time. And the same thing with my 12-year-old. She practices every day. And so it's through those behaviors is where I find the motivation.
Nobody in its history of coaching had your level of work ethic. What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since 20 years. It was an everyday process. I mean, trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Now, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them, so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And, but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed. You got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform. It's your job to be in shape. It's your job to be strong enough to perform at that level every single night. In the NBA, it was actually easier because what I found in the NBA is a lot of guys played for financial stability. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these championships. And then you had the players that had that passion but weren't willing to commit their entire lives to doing that, right? It's a choice. You have other things. You have family, you have all these other things that you have to do. The game can't really be your number one priority. But it's a balancing act, and that's the thing that's important, is understanding that we have to have so much energy. Because for like Natalia and Gianna when they were babies, especially Natalia because they're doing prime years, and I go to practice and I'd train and I'd play the game and I'd come home and I'd be sore and I'd be tired, and she wants to go swimming, she wants me to take her to the park, she wants to just jump on my back or whatever the case may be. You can't say, I'm too tired, I'm going to lay down. That's not fair. She doesn't know what the hell's going on, right? And if this was a game, you'd suck it up and play. I played games with the flu. I played games with 102-degree fever, man.
Power.
You can't do that.
That is so powerful.
Right? You got to be on, man.